Good morning.
Good morning.
Isn't it PJ Day today?
Yeah, it is.
It's always PJ Day, isn't it?
That's what I said to my parents. It's like I could do that every day if I wanted to.
That I haven't worn PJs.
We should have a bow tie day. That'd be cool. At least for my part, it'd be cool. I'm excited about today, Brady. This is it.
This is it.
Really sad. I was thinking about that while I was riding stationary bike today. What's the name of your cat, Ryan?
What was that?
What's the name of your cat?
Lily.
Lily?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Monet has a cat. It's blue in Spanish. How many of you people? Oh, what's blue in Spanish, Hannah?
Azul.
Oh, that's why it's funny. I get it. I couldn't figure out why would you name a cat blue, but now it makes sense. Okay. We're still waiting for somebody. Who are we waiting for? The other Hannah. Okay, so anyway, do I have any time? No, we're supposed to start. Okay, so when you guys take calc as juniors, always wonder if anybody at all will take calc BC as seniors. And because I don't know. I mean, it's a total choice. And there are certain things that milestones for me that have occurred in my growth as a math person. And this to me is the coolest of cool. So I was thinking about that because I was listening to a podcast called Radiolab. Have you ever heard of it? And they were talking about if the apocalypse happened, where everything is totally destroyed, and someone said to you, you were given the task of leaving one sentence for whoever comes, what would you leave? And it started by this physics teacher that said, I would come in with this equation, and from that equation, society could restart itself. And it's an atomic energy equation, which is about right there as much as I need to understand. There are 3 parts to it. And so as I was listening, so what they did in Radiolab, they asked different people what they would leave. And I go, I know exactly what I leave. I leave what I give as my final lecture to my BC students. Because to me, it encompasses everything. Oops, I somehow screwed up. Everything in mathematics. And so then as I was riding bike, I was thinking about that in the Radiolab, and I had listened to this other show called TED Talk Hour, and they're talking about joy and how you define success. And this guy who was an orchestra conductor said, when I see eyes shine, I thought, oh yeah. Well, I don't always know if your eyes shine. I try to get them to shine, but seriously, it's math, and I understand that part. But I hope that every day for 2 years, somewhere along the line, you have seen my eyes shine, and today's my day. I am so excited. Okay. Any questions before I start? Silence. All right. So I will try to share my screen. We'll see how that goes today. Do you see cosine, sine, and e to the x? No?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we do.
okay. So we looked at these three yesterday, correct? And since all of x converges for this series or this Taylor polynomial, for any x that you put in for cosine, if you go far enough on these terms, it'll match it up perfectly. The same for every sine. Same for e to the x. There are other ones. I think the natural log does too, but I'm not going to do that right here. So since that is true for any x that I put in here, that I put into e to the x, that I can use this Taylor polynomial, I'm going to put in, Hannah, L, whatever I want. Now, normally I would put in 3, but it's not as fun in this case. I am going to put in e to the I pi. And I'm going to get 1 plus e, excuse me, I screwed up right away. I pi plus I pi squared over 2 factorial plus I pi cubed over 3 factorial plus I pi to the 4th over 4 factorial, and I'll go a few more, plus I pi to the 5th over 5 factorial, plus I pi to the 6th over 6 factorial, plus that would go on forever. So that means e I pi equals 1 plus I pi. Now, I has a what is I?
The square root of -1.
Square root of -1. So what's I squared, Kyle?
So that'd just be -1.
What's
So-
I cubed?
-I. So that's just like going to cancel out the regular I.
Well, let's just find out what I'm going to get rid of this I. I'm squaring it. That's going to be a -1, correct, Kyle?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a negative pi over 2 factorial. Would you agree?
Pi squared.
Thank you. Okay. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And here I'm going to have pi cubed, correct? I got to remember that.
Yeah.
It's going to be over 3 factorial, correct? But I'm going to have I cubed. And I cubed is going to be a negative I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to have minus I. Does that look correct?
Yep.
Okay, what is I to the 4th, Kyle?
1.
1. Because you'd have a -1 times a -1, correct? Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So this is going to be 1. So this is going to be simply plus I to the 4th over 4 factorial. Now what happens, I'm going to have pi to the 5th over 5 factorial, correct, Kyle?
Yep.
Now I'll have I to the 5th. What's I to the 5th?
Just I.
Just I, because it's I to the 4th times I, correct?
Correct.
Okay, plus I. And then what's going to happen here? I'm going to have pi to the 6 over 6 factorial. What will I be here?
-1.
A -1. It goes in a cycle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then that pattern's going to happen. Okay? Are the rest of you okay with that? So by silence, they must be. So I'm going to rearrange it a little bit. I have, Kyle, I's and non-I's. Would you agree?
Yeah, are you gonna divide it into like odds and
groups.
evens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably see where this is going, but let's not give it all away, okay? You know, there's a certain enjoyment I need to get through life.
Gotcha.
All righty. So I'm going to have 1 minus pi squared over 2 factorial, because this doesn't have an I. Oh, they're evens. Yeah, plus pi 4th over 4 factorial minus pi the 6 over 6 factorial. And then that would go on forever, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
I'll put it in a
Correct.
group like this, okay? And then I'm going to have this other group, and this other group is going to have I pi minus I pi cubed over 3 factorial plus I pi the 5th over 5 factorial. And like you said, they're all odds over here, correct?
Yep.
So I can go one step further and write this down. And I'm going to factor out an I, and I get pi minus pi cubed over 3 factorial plus pi to the 5th over 5 factorial plus or minus, if I kept going, pi the 7th over 7 factorial plus dot, dot, dot.
So that's just sine of pi, right?
Oh, this is the sine of pi? Okay. What's this?
The cosine of pi.
Yeah, look up here. This is the cosine of pi. Plus, you said this is I times the sine of pi.
Yep.
What's the sine of pi?
0.
0 equals the cosine of pi. So I'm going to have I times 0. It's gone. It's wiped out. We have a little death going on, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the cosine of pi?
1.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's -1.
It's -1. Look what happens. E to the I pi plus 1 equals 0. Okay, just wait 1 second. Isn't that wonderful? It's got all the important stuff. And it isn't till we get to BC Calc that we figure that out. And I can't wait to show you. That is it. I've been waiting all year. And I know that COVID-19 is really sad, and it'd be really good if we'd be back in class. But if we were back in class, not all of you would be here. You'd be in Costa Rica. You'd be in Florida. You'd be on vacation. It would be me and someone who doesn't travel. I don't know who that would be. Maybe just me and John. And John might be watching it live at the daycare. Who knows? So that's my final lecture. It has all the important parts of mathematics. This whole thing, the gift you really want to leave, I think, is being able to look at something critically, analyzing. And this whole thing is analyzation. It's quite remarkable, to me anyway, that Euler even came up with this idea. And that's the equation I would leave. And they'll go, where in the heck did that come from? There'll be somebody smart enough to be able to figure that out eventually and work its way backwards. And then, but it has,
Assuming that they know that pi is
well,
pi
they'll have to figure out
and
what
e is
pi is.
e.
Yeah.
What if they give it a different letter though?
Well, someone along the line will measure a circle. I guarantee you somebody does. I think circles are universal.
Yeah.
I think a unit of 1 is universal. I think emptiness is universal. I think imagination is universal. This whole square root of a -1 is really a student that says, well, what if I would take a -1, square root of a -1? What would happen next? And some teacher said, you can't do that. That just would be weird. And then electricity gets discovered and they use it all the time. And so this is imagination. This is analyzation. This is taking a look at patterning. Sure, I'll help you out, but I want something in return. It's a give and take. I'll charge you a little bit. I can give you 10 bucks. You give me 11 back. Analyzation, imagination, geometry, the basic units of mathematics. A binary system, 0 and 1s. It's all there. Now, will it create life? No. Something else will have to create life. But you take a look at all the complexity that it takes to get to that. It's just absolutely fascinating. And I remember, to me, it was as fascinating as when I found out that 0.9 repeating and 1 are exactly the same value. And all of a sudden, you have stuff that it continually happened. 0 factorial is 1. Why? A Klein bottle, a Mobius strip, Gabriel's horn. You can't paint it. You can paint it, but you can't fill it up with a gallon of paint that you're using. It's absolutely phenomenal to me. So that's it. So you have everything that you need right now to keep progressing. So every day I'll be here. You can check in if you wish. I am going to have some problems for you to do because we got to get ready for this exam. And I want to make sure you understand what it feels like to have a 25-minute test and a 15-minute test. So I'll be pushing those out to you. So, but basically you can just check in and I'll ask you if you have any questions and I'll give you any updates with what I expect. And that's it. If you need, like, okay, I totally forgot how to do separation of variables. I forgot how to figure out the disk method. I can bring those up and we can talk and look at those. Okay. And you have been my joy this year. So thank you very much. And that's it for class. So you can stay around. I'm here. I did not sleep. I got up at 4:30 this morning, getting ready for this. I went through every possible Hallelujah song there was on my phone. That Rosie got a little bit upset.
So is there going to be a BC class next year? Have you found out?
Yep. Yep. Which is good. Yep. And Mr. Noner said he'd like me to come back if I wanted to come back. And I said, yeah. And so I'll come back. And so he says, well, you'll know you'll be fired. And I said, yeah. And he said, then we'll come back and hire you back. And I said, okay. It's all part of the game. Hopefully, I won't be teaching from my washroom because it's just weird.
Yeah.
You guys got like cool places. I get the washroom. I wish I had a picture of a rooster behind me.
Why?
Or if it was all green. Those are my two favorite things. Is like there's somebody else. Mrs. Kachemba has an all green like that. I go, oh my god, that is really really cool. So
I also, you guys can't see this, but I have a wall of Funko Pop figurines that are right behind the computer. So I'll look up and all of a sudden the shark from Jaws would just be staring back at me. Like, I have a shark. I have a whole bunch of random stuff. So
is that a plastic shark or is that like a stuffed shark?
it's plastic. It's a shark from Jaws, Bruce.
Yeah.
He's even got the little tank in his hand on the mouth.
Okay, and so that isn't that what blows him up or something?
Yep. They shoot it and it blows them up.
Okay, so they shoot. What kind of gas is in this tank?
It's just compressed oxygen.
Okay. Have they ever done that? Mythbusters actually shoot a tank with a bullet to see if that happened?
I think they might have. I'm not 100% sure. I know you're not supposed to puncture one of those tanks, but I don't think it does a full-on explosion.
Yeah, I don't think you want to drop one because I heard it becomes like a missile.
Mm-hmm.
And I just heard bad stories.
It'd just be like a balloon without air, except it's made out of metal. So
yeah. Will it expand? Or will it be shrapnel being
Flies.
flown all over the place?
Just flies through the shark.
Yeah, I just think that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
So alrighty.
Can we go over the last one on the worksheet from yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was going to do that. Shoot it. I got so excited about this. Can you describe to me what it is? Because I don't have a copy of it. I was going to get it. The whole time I'm looking up these hallelujahs, I'm going, you know what? I'm supposed to be doing something else and I can't remember. Was it 2019? No, it wasn't. I know what it was. Okay. Let me just put you over here. I know where it is too. Put that over here. I have to go into my computer. I know right where it is. Yeah, I was going to do that. Thank you for remembering that. Okay, Taylor polynomials. I got a whole file called Taylor polynomials. See if this is it. Nope. What's this? Okay, does it say this? It's number 4 and has 1 plus x over 2 factorial, x squared over 3 factorial, x cubed over 4 factorial. Is that correct?
yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down. Okay. And we're supposed to find the first derivative with 0 in it and the 17th derivative with 0 in it, correct? Hello?
Yes. Sorry, we're all just nodding.
Okay. And is that your question on that one, or is it the one where g of x equals x f of x?
It's part B, the g of x equals x.
Okay.
I cannot speak.
And finding the 17th derivative, there must be a pattern, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So let me bring you back. And share this with you. Okay, so you see that. Do you see? Okay, didn't like that. Alrighty, so I have an issue again with sharing, and I don't know if it's my document camera that has issues or not. Let me, so does it ask you to take the derivative of it first and then ask you for the Maclaurin, or what does it ask specifically, Ellie?
It's asking us to write the Maclaurin polynomial for g of x, showing the first three non-zero terms and the general term.
Okay, so what you would do is you multiply both sides by x. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
So x f of x must have been equal to x plus x squared over 2 factorial plus x cubed over 3 factorial plus dot 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 plus x to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so that's a Maclaurin because it's centered around 0, and then they want the first 3 terms.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 3 terms would be x plus x squared over 2 factorial plus x cubed over 3 factorial. And then the general term would be a sub n would be x to the n plus 1 over n plus 1 factorial.
I guess we were just thinking it couldn't be that simple.
They don't ask you to take the derivative or anything, do they?
No.
No, they just want to know that's series. So you just had to multiply both sides by x. And they distribute the x through.
So when you do x times f of x, and you need to find like g prime of x, you don't do the product rule there.
Oh, do they ask you to figure out g prime of x?
Isn't
I
that
don't
what you
have it in
put
front of me.
in
Do they
each
ask you?
series?
Do they
Like,
ask
is
you?
it? Well, they don't ask you to do the product rule, but each series, each term would be g prime times x minus c, right? Like any other.
Correct.
So then you would have to find
You're
g
right.
prime,
You would
right?
still do they ask you to figure out g prime of x?
No, but that's the formula for a. Those are the terms for any sequence like this, or for any Taylor polynomial, right?
Well, isn't f of x equal to 1 plus x over 2 factorial plus x squared over 3 factorial plus, and then they give you the general term x to the nth over n plus 1 factorial. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then they tell you g of x is the product of x times f of x.
Yeah.
Okay, and then do they want the derivative of g of x?
No, but I always thought to make a Taylor polynomial, you need the prime for each term,
No,
right?
you could just you can
Okay.
just multiply that out. You can just multiply by since you've defined that f of x as being that series, and you just multiply both sides.
Oh yeah,
You should-
yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
Anybody else? Alrighty. Well, we can be done with the meeting if you wish. Or you can just hang out here in this room, this virtual room.
Mr. Kruger,
Yes.
tonight at dinner, I'm gonna like preface the problem to my brother, but not tell him how it ends. So I'll have to go through all of math and calculus to figure it out.
Oh, so you're gonna give
That's
him
he's a
smart.
freshman.
you're
That's
gonna give him e to the I pi plus 1 equals 0. You're gonna give him Euler's identity. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I know. I gotta find out how much that would be when I have that put onto my. And then, maybe I have to abbreviate, because it says, father of, and then you list your kids or something like that. I wonder, maybe I just go J Kruger, S Kruger, M Kruger, or just J, S, and M, and save a few bucks and then put the equation. There's other ways to do that proof also. And then there's one I used to show, there's a YouTube video of it being done, and it's got all this music and lights and all this stuff. It makes a big deal. And, but I like it this way. I just like it that fits into series. Now, I don't think you're going to need to know convergence. I did that so I could show this thing to you at the end. But I did, the reason I did it is so you could see, very common Taylor polynomials. And the common ones are sine, cosine, e to the x, and the ln of x. And they're the ones I believe that converge for all of x.
So do you know like what we're gonna be doing after the test?
I don't know. I don't know. If it goes on as usual, I'll have you guys give presentations, and you do individual presentations, and you pick a movie, and it's for your final, and you tell me the math that's in the movie. So people have done Hidden Figures. Some people have found some, what other ones? Somebody found one about a car or something. It was Austin Bemboom found a really neat movie. But there's some really good math movies. Interstellar is one of my favorites. Have you ever seen Interstellar?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I think they did. I think it's a very multi-dimensional space is a really hard thing to describe. The math is a lot easier than trying to describe it physically, but I think that movie does a pretty good job in explaining it.
That's what Cole Katzera said.
Yeah, and I think he did in his Interstellar.
He said like it's really hard to imagine multiple dimensions, so you just have to trust it.
Right.
So I was
And
asking about one.
I had a book in which you can do a number of activities, like with light and shadows, and to kind of talk about multi-dimensional space. I got hooked in to multi-dimensional space. When I talked about those hooks that got me into math, was when I was in 6th grade, and I read A Wrinkle in Time. I go, what in the heck is a wrinkle in time? That's really weird. And I don't know if they still do it in elementary school, but they used to hand out these sheets and said, okay, you can buy these books, and you'd fill them out and bring in your money. And then the teacher would order the books, and they would come in a few weeks. Did they have anything like that when you were in elementary school?
We had book fairs.
Yeah. Well, my wife would do that right in her classroom. And the reason she did it was because she got free books. So it was kind of a scam, but it was free books for her kids, but you'd always get like 5 or 6 free books. And so I ordered, when I was in 6th grade, my teacher was Mr. Sopko. And he said, and he turns to me and he says, You're getting that book? I said, yeah. He says, you won't understand it. Why would a teacher ever say that to a student who won't understand it? So that book I read the slowest of every book. I wish I had it originally, but how old, 6th grade, that was in the 60s. And I had written in the margins about, I'm a 6th grader and I'm writing in the margins of this book about ideas that I liked about the book. So I was really excited. I thought last year, I think A Wrinkle of Time, did that come out last year when you guys were juniors?
I think it might have been 2 years ago.
Oh, I was going to take the class to that. I was going to see if I could take a field trip to a movie. But then I heard the movie was really bad. And I don't want to go to something that I think that I'm really excited about and see a movie that makes it really bad and be really disappointed and ruin my whole belief structure. So I didn't take them.
The movie's all right.
Isn't Oprah Winfrey in it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because my mom bought me the book recently.
But see, that would be a movie you could use. You could use Interstellar. You can use Hidden Figures. And usually there's some math in the movie. And you have to explain the math that you see in the movie. And I remember Haley Reid, what did she do? And she came in with her presentation. And it was just absolutely remarkable. It was kind of based on some probability type of stuff. And then there's another one called Gifted, where this girl can do these really complex mathematics in her head. And she's like in 1st grade or something like that. Her mom was a former mathematician. And she does calculus in this college. And so Kayleen Martins did that one. And there's a certain type of math that makes computations really, really quick. And so she was explaining that particular math. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that you can choose from. So and then you could do it right here in the abyss. We're already ready and we're already being recorded. So it'd be like really easy. And it can be put out to public for all the world to see. You can say, hey, I watched the movie so-and-so. And it's like 15 minutes and you just tell me the math and do the best you can, because it doesn't take very long where the math gets so complicated that no one understands it except if you're a genius. So, at least it does for me. So here's a question. You guys were doing college searches, and some of you had already figured out where you're going to go at college. Was there anybody that hadn't figured it out before COVID-19, and now has that changed your application process at all, or has no one experienced that? Everybody had it all figured out.
Me personally, I had it already figured out. I knew where I was going to go, but the application process is significantly different because I was supposed to sign up for registration on courses on March 20th, and that day we all received an email, and I just filled out my stuff, and I got my courses maybe a week ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I wasn't in person to pick my courses. I just said, this is what I want to major in, and then they picked the courses for me.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I'm technically triple majored because I can't make a decision.
You're at Bemidji, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Ellie, you're at the University of Minnesota?
I am.
And Ryan, so are you? Burkhart?
Yeah.
And Aaron, you're at St. Cloud State.
Yeah.
Correct? And Kyle is at NDSU, correct?
Right.
Okay. Ryan Zaski, where are you going?
I'm also going to NDSU.
Okay. And Brady?
NDSU.
Pardon?
NDSU.
NDSU. Gavin?
I'm going to the University of Minnesota.
Okay, and Hannah.
I'm going to Mankato.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mankato. Wow. Well, you'll have to tell me what it's like. I mean, you guys will be a whole different generation that's going to go through and which went through this absolutely craziness. Going from this end to college. I mean, I don't even know what the beginning of next year is going to be like. You hear all sorts of stuff. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I hope I'm not stuck in here.
I think it was Ryan that just asked if we can have a prom. Like, I know from what I've heard from my mom, especially because the principal apparently actually is my neighbor, which I found out recently. I know they're planning on canceling it, not canceling, postponing it indefinitely, but I don't know if we're actually going to have one. I've been going back and forth with the idea of just talking to a few friends and just seeing if we can dress up and hang out. Oh, in this class, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I'd go to that prom. My wife could dress up. I could dress up. We'd be dancing in here.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Oh, I just, because we dated in high school, I just maybe tomorrow I'll show you the picture of what we looked like when I was a junior in high school. I'll show you that picture. Yeah. She looks exactly the same. Oh, you want to have prom in here for a class?
Yes.
Oh, I don't care. We could figure that out. Yeah. You know, everybody we could have a potluck and not share. You know, like I would bring mints and I'd have a little bowl of mints right here. Somebody else could have like the full course meal with them, and somebody else could have the punch.
I got root beer, so.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So, well, okay. Can we have a prom? All right. Because prom has not been canceled, has it?
It's been postponed.
Okay. I don't want to like interfere with the postponing, you know, it might be.
From what
Have
I've
you said anything about, have you guys heard anything about whether we're coming back May 4th?
no.
I mean, we're planned to by the
We
government.
had
but
like a meeting this morning, a principal's cabinet meeting.
Yeah.
And Mr. Noner said the governor hasn't said anything about it yet, but they think they're guessing he's gonna say something this week.
Okay.
well,
So, like I
it's-
guess like as of right now, we would be going back. Like I'm
It's-
assuming that's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
it's supposed to peak in July though. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm assuming he's gonna cancel the rest of the year.
yeah, unfortunately.
And Mr. Noner said if he didn't like cancel, if he only canceled like part of May, not all of May, like if he just extended it for like another 2 weeks, our district would
We
just
just
choose
wouldn't.
not to go back.
Yeah.
Random question, Gavin.
Okay.
So I don't remember when exactly our senior last day was supposed to be, but are we still going to be ending before the rest of school, or are they planning on having us finish when everyone else does?
No, he said that they're sticking with the regular school schedule. So May 22nd is still our last day.
Okay.
So you take the test on the 12th and then you're done with all your classes on the 22nd. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's the stats test.
Well, that's on the 22nd is the stats test.
Yeah.
Oh, really? On your last day, it's the stats
Yeah.
test?
That kind of sucked.
What time is it at 1 o'clock?
I think it's at the same time as the calc one. So I
Oh,
don't know. I don't know what time that is in Central.
okay. Oh, it's 1 o'clock because it's
Okay.
all the yeah, it's 1 o'clock, I think.
Okay.
Because I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, it's the same as this one.
Okay.
Or as the BC. Because like the only one that's different is Gov, I think, is at 3.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that like if we're having issues with Wi-Fi or something, how can we convey that to people? Like, let's say during the test, the Wi-Fi all of a sudden cuts out or my Wi-Fi goes down. How would I convey that to the AP people that I'm
Yeah.
having issues?
And we'll know more information about that next week. They're supposed to be coming out the 27th with some whole bunch of protocols. And they said there would be some type of form that you could fill out that if there was an internet issue. Okay, I don't know what it looks like, but the head honcho talked about that. I know Mr. Noner has also talked about opening the school building for perhaps taking AP exams, and he was working with the district. I do not know where. I haven't heard from him yet. Did he talk about that at all at the principal's cabinet?
No.
Okay, and I don't know where he is in that process. But as soon as I get information, I'll share that with you guys. All right.
That's what I'm saying. Just if you don't like the test, just like shut off the Wi-Fi.
My
You get a
daughter,
whole new batch of questions. Just
you get another test. Yeah.
yeah, take 2.
Yeah, we have to take it in June.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they have a number of different dates, and I can't remember what they are. They have a. They gave you a site to go to if you have questions, right? Or no?
I
You guys
mean,
got email, right?
yeah. You can just go online like to their website and there's like a tab about like
Yeah.
the new tests.
And everybody should do that. Yeah, everybody should do that. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna call it a day, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Okay.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Kruger.